Hey, this is the GatorEX podcast, the podcast that happens every 2 weeks here on the channel. It's been a while since I did this intro. I am joined here by nerds today, and we're gonna talk now. First of all, sorry, I don't mean to hijack the conversation because I think I did that last time, but I'll say this at least. Well, let me tell you what happened. I had recorded a podcast, right? One that was supposed to go up today. It was a really good one too. It turned out great. We were recording through Discord, and it turned out great. I really loved it. And so last night, I'm like, okay, well, let me go back and edit it. And it's only my voice.
I saw that.
Yeah. It's an hour's worth of just me. You can probably hear like Snickers like every so...
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
But you can't even hear like what I'm reacting to.
Yeah, I just saw the like little short bit video of that, and it was just like nothing but silence and voices being picked up, and then there's your voice, and then nothing, and then your voice again. And I'm going, oh my gosh, that's funny, but man, that's brutal.
I mean, yeah, it's funny, but like I said, what actually happened was in the podcast was pretty funny. There were some good moments that just are not recorded. Well, I mean, my reaction to it is recorded if I said it, but yeah. But anyway, thank you for being here, because then I guess this, well, obviously this definitely makes up for it, because then I can do this.
Yeah,
because scheduling's an issue. I mean,
just a little bit. I mean, kind of mostly like my fault, because stuff kept on like happening like last minute. Plus also I got really bad memory. And so I kept forgetting that there was a podcast and I happened to be doing something. And I'm going, oh, no, I gotta get home.
but I mean, I feel like it's also a thing of like, yeah, me also, because I tend to basically only get it like a few days before it technically is scheduled. So it's just adult life. Schedules just don't always.
A little bit, just a little. But I mean, I think one of the coolest things that you can actually have is like if we do another one of these podcasts, although it might be a little sketchy, just because like of an internet connection, because I'm going to Australia basically by the start of July, and the internet connection over there and trying to do like video calls or anything is pretty bad. Like the connection there is pretty bad. I tried doing like video calls with a friend of mine a few times, and yeah, we were successful for a majority, but there was a time where it was just nothing but just internet disconnect, and it was just awful.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, Australia is still like pretty like, I don't know how their internet is in general, but I mean, from that experience that you say is probably that. And again, it's also the scheduling thing. I mean, for one thing, it's kind of like the reason why like my podcast crew is set on like who it is, because we all live in SoCal, so it's all the same time zone.
Australia is kind of 16, 18 hours ahead, so 7 in the morning here in SoCal is about midnight or so over in Australia.
That's the issue. Time zones just don't line up. The world's too big.
Well, I mean, the only way how you'd really fix that is make the Earth flat, but I mean...
All right. You heard it. That's the perfect. It's the solution. No, man. The Earth's not flat. The Earth's hollow. It's how you keep all the Kong alive.
Oh, I thought it was made out of Doritos.
That's still flat though.
No. It's just accumulation of Doritos, and just each area is just a different flavor. That's why you have all those different colors.
It's like a plate with a bunch of Doritos laid out very evenly, floating on top of like a buffalo sauce or something. And it's you see the ocean. That's not really water. It's just liquefied Doritos with just extra blue food dye. It's Cool Ranch, but like really, really Cool Ranch.
Really Cool Ranch.
And then all of that is in a bowl, and it's on the back of a turtle.
Ooh.
And the turtle's standing on top of an elephant, and the elephant's on top of a whale.
Kind of like the turtle lion thing from like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Nice. I don't know. Sometimes I think about that with the Avatar thing. Like,
man, that was like a dream of mine when I was a kid, just to shoot fire out of my hands. And then all of a sudden, like, they came up with this new thing as it was going on at the time, where it's like, oh, you could compress it and then you shoot lightning. I'm going, oh my gosh, my Jedi dreams are coming true.
Which, oh yeah. I mean, there is always the thing. So out of all of them, you would want to be a firebender.
Honestly, no. There's not real much of fun stuff you could do besides like fly. But there's there's like a downside to each one.
Yeah.
Airbending's probably like the safest bet for a lot of people, just because you can cool off a room real quick. You can fly, air scooter. I think the only downside is just like if you're trying to defend yourself, you got to get real good at it. Waterbending is like super cool, although if you look at a lot of the really intense stuff with like Legends of Korra,
Oh yeah.
you have like, oh, I can bend the liquid in your blood, so it's like, oh my gosh, that's brutal. But at the same time, it could turn into like you can ice bend and do that all that cool stuff. If you're going up against firebenders and stuff like that, if you have a water source that you and like you need a water source near you, and so you got to have that constantly. If you're up against a firebender, then you can't really do much because that fire is going to evaporate your water unless you're able to have super awesome control and turn that water vapor back into a bunch of water again.
That was always a thing. Fire and air, the resources are everywhere around you. With earth and water, you need earth and water with you, but you could do more with earth and water. So it was a fair trade-off, I think.
Yeah, and then when you've got, I think earthbending is super beneficial, although it's extremely destructive.
Oh yeah.
Like earthbending, it's like, oh, I could build a house in 5 minutes. Like that's just one of the coolest things you could do with it. But at the same time, you've also got every single thing that you take out of the ground, it can't be replaced.
Or if you're just like, well, you could, I guess, try to put it back, but it's probably maybe not going to be exactly perfect. Because there's a whole thing of like the roads always just get torn up completely with there are earthbenders around. Which it was cool for the fights and everything, but you're just imagining like if there's no earthbender around to fix it, then it's just done.
That's when I found out with Legends of Korra. I have not even watched these. It's just like little clips that I'll find, and there's like a guy who knows how to do firebending and earthbending at the same time, and so it's basically lava bending.
Is it? What is it? It was just that. Well, because like lava's just earth.
Yeah, it's molten rock.
Yeah, so you should be like hypothetically, you should be able to still bend it if you're an earthbender.
Yeah, and that's when that's when I kept delving down into the rabbit hole and found like, oh yeah, metal bending. It's just more refined earth.
Yeah, which that at least was was something in the original. Legend of Korra was I thought it was okay, or it was it was good. There was some good and I haven't seen the last season of it. I was watching it pretty much as it was airing, and for whatever reason I just didn't catch the last season, and I've been meaning to, but I just never really got around to it. I know what happens at the end.
Yeah, I just got really intrigued with a lot of the different new generations of powers that people had.
Oh, yeah.
And so I started just like, ooh, bloodbending. That's brutal. That's not cool to have. And then there's like lava bending, and then there was, metal bending, and then there's a bunch of other stuff. Energy bending, which I guess Aang used to basically take away people's powers or their bending.
I like it. It did a good job with world building, definitely. But I wasn't about the whole like 1920s aesthetic.
Oh yeah, that's right. It did do a 1920s type thing.
But I guess when you think about it, because like the world of Avatar already, Last Airbender, they already have, tanks and zeppelins and all that stuff. So it pretty much was about the 1800s, give or take. And so, next generation would be about 1920s.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Although, like, there's a lot of different stuff with that, which there was generational jumps when it came to technology in some of the areas.
And then, of course, like a world with basically magic, you just build upon that and make technology based on that.
Although I thought it was really interesting, because when I found out about the whole metal bending thing, I really started to kind of think about like, so when it came to the metal bending and seeing the Fire Nation with like in the earlier Avatar, The Last Airbender, did they just go, I had this question in my head of like, did they just go through the original like refining process of like smithing these metals and putting them together and making these ships? Or did they secretly have metal benders behind the scenes?
Oh,
it's an interesting theory.
Well, okay, like here's one thing though. Well, I like, in canon, it's Toph who basically invents metal bending. And, gosh.
Doesn't she also have, like, nature bending, too? Like, when she's an old woman, she's got, like, she controls, like, vines and trees, stuff like that.
I mean, again, that's in the last season of Legend of Korra, which I have not seen.
Oh, I spoiled it. I'm sorry.
I mean, no. Here's the thing. Like I said, I've seen stuff that happens. I know Old Woman Toph is there. I know that they leave the spirit gates open at the end, but I haven't
I didn't know that. I didn't know that little detail.
Oh no, I spoiled that. No. But
spoilers all around, everybody.
When it came out like 2016, 3 years.
Know.
I think that's decent. And then again, the ending was like shown everywhere. But like I need to like physically sit down and watch them. But I know basically what happens.
Everybody wins and one person dies.
R.I.P. whoever it was. But with the firebenders though, well, because if they're firebending, then they should be able to like be pretty good with metalworking, I'd assume. Because then you can get metal like hot enough. Well, maybe not like good with it, but because when you think about it, like fire is probably the most useful to like industrial work in that whole world. Because again, heating up metal and at the same time also using it as like an energy source for these machines that you build. So I'd assume it's probably from like years of them taking that and adapting it to that. Like say with waterbenders, right? They settle in like North and South poles, and that's all ice. There's water everywhere, so they can use it to their advantage. And then with the Earth Kingdom, they basically built all these giant walls, which again out of Earth. So and then airbenders, they live in temples in like mountains, so they can fly up there. So again, with you assume they've had these powers for like years and years. They probably just end up adapting them into their own societies. And so that's probably why like the Fire Nation was the most industrial out of all of them and the most fit for war. That's my thoughts, at least.
Yeah, that makes sense. I just want to figure out the process in which they came up with like the whole lightning thing.
Like as far as like in universe, I'm not sure, but I just know like when they're writing it, they're like, "Hey, you ever see Star Wars? That Emperor was pretty cool, huh? How he does a lightning thing." Which is like. Star Wars is also cool, man.
Well, I mean, but but the thing is like Star Wars with like The Last Airbender, there's a complete difference in different storylines between like the powers in which they're able to have.
Oh yeah.
Like Star Wars with like Force Lightning. Force Lightning was like a manifested dark side energy that came from deep down within, from like absolute like hate and rage, to when like lightning in Avatar: The Last Airbender, it was like saying like compress and focus and it'll happen.
Which I mean, like they're both basically magic, but with Last Airbender, it is a little more. You're right, it is a lot more tied to like the element itself. And I assume you've probably like stumbled into them too, as you said. You said you've seen videos and stuff. But like the Avatar community on YouTube is still like going, even though there's currently nothing new, but. I always find that interesting, but I see videos about like analysis of this character, or why did this thing happen, or this and that, and I mean they're really interesting too. Like a lot of them are really good videos.
Whoa! I just had a really crazy random thought, in which is like really like brutal if you really think about it.
Oh no, what's up?
So since Toph invented metal bending, she would be able to actually move people's bones because calcium is a metal. How messed up is that?
On top of that, though, like just minerals in general, would that work? That probably would work because we have like
minerals are earth.
Yeah, we have like minerals and inside us because it's it's all natural stuff. That's the question. So is it the minerals that you bend in?
Would earth bending become the new bad guys?
Forget blood bending. We got bone bending.
We got bone benders over here.
And then I think at one point in like Korra, because eventually there like more people end up becoming airbenders. So there's like an evil earthbender or something, and someone basically uses it to take the air out of someone's lungs.
Whoa.
And so I mean, Fire's the only one that loses out, I guess. But like hypothetically, because like the human body is like consisted of, again, we're like what, 70% water.
Somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, something like that. And then we have the minerals in us too. Like a lot of like the world is tied together. Like hypothetically, that is. I never thought of that. I wonder because then again, like with the human body, like how much percentage of it is would you think is mineral?
Dirt.
Made them from the dirt.
Well, I mean, you got minerals, so it's like precious stones and other things that are there. I mean, those would be considered minerals. But I mean, like, there's a lot of for the average scientific mind, for those who don't go delving into like the massive, stuff of, I forget what is the study of like earth and ground and stuff like that. I forget what it's called.
It's not geology.
Genealogy? No, not genealogy.
Geology?
Geology?
Geology is like stone, and yeah, I think it is earth. Yeah. So I studied earthquakes and stuff in geology.
So that would be, yeah, I'm not really sure because like I know that like minerals, there's a certain amount of minerals that I know about, but that's like a really basic knowledge, and I know that there's like probably thousands upon hundreds upon numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Welcome to the education cast, everybody.
I know. Let's see. I looked it up. The human body is like, it's like mostly oxygen. It looks like it's a good amount of carbon. I know it's a weird question to think about. Like, okay, for one thing, even if it's not like total control over like as much control as like bloodbending is, right? Potentially to a degree, you might be able to like hurt somebody internally with earthbending.
Yeah, you like yank out their tooth, turn it into a sword. I mean, like, come on. You could do a lot and really do some damage with that.
Oh, dang. All right. Random weird thought. You know how at one point Toph was basically carried around a bracelet with her made out of stone to just use in like whenever she would need it. An earthbender, they're old and they're toothless, but they use earthbending to give themselves stone teeth and just use those if they ever need it for anything. Like pop them out again, and make it a sword or whatever, and then put them back.
Interesting.
I know, it's really weird. It's almost disturbing.
There's certain other things that they could do too. Is like they could actually form like new teeth, but it's basically displacing like other bone that's around there.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, no, I don't like that.
I don't like it either.
I don't like it. Oh no, Avatar's cool.
Yeah, there's like a whole other world you could create just by like having all these creative conversations.
Oh yeah.
But for me, like I like being able to like think about, what other bending could be besides like energy, lava, and all these other ones that they've already come up with.
I almost feel like Legend of Korra was like the full extent of like exploring these because like for one, they in the original like Last Airbender they did, have metal bending and it was just Toph, and then they had like blood bending for one episode.
They're missing one.
Was it
time bending? Space bending.
Time and space bending.
They could create the dark void.
Maybe eventually. That'd be it.
That would be like, I found the ultimate teacher who can control everything.
Strongest earthbender, just like stop the earth from rotating.
Yeah, and kill everybody in the process. Yeah.
No. Turn it backwards like Superman.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yep.
We'll go back in time, and everybody's walking and doing things in reverse.
It's like in you ever seen Ferris Bueller?
Yeah.
We're like, don't worry, we'll get the miles off it. Just put it in reverse. That's not how that works. It's the same principle.
Oh my gosh, that would be horrible. Because then, like, if everything's happening in reverse, like, the one thing that everyone jumps to is like when people are eating or drinking things.
Oh, I didn't even jump to.
I mean, I've seen a lot of shows and a lot of movies where it's been, everything's happening in reverse. And when people are eating, like that's happening in reverse, and so you're seeing it like come out instead of going in, and so you're going like, oh gosh, that's disgusting.
Oh gosh, sorry.
Stop breaking things.
No, well, here's I'm so the snap bands, right?
Yes.
So I got one of those recently.
Why?
Just okay. Because all right. So I was at a Japanese grocery store, and I was in like the candy section, and I saw a little box that with Splatoon, and it had like Splatoon thing. And I'm like, what is this? And I take a look at it, and it's a snap band with a piece of gum. There's a separately packaged piece of gum, but it also comes with a snap band.
Interesting.
So I'm like, man, I love Splatoon. Let me get this. The gum was pretty good. I actually really like Japanese gum.
Did it taste like paint?
No. Like, have you had a Japanese gum?
I've had a different type of Japanese candy. Like I had tried like a Japanese chocolate strawberry thing before, which was actually pretty good and extremely addictive.
No, yeah, there are a lot of there are so many like treats there, which I might have got a little too much. I got shrimp chips. It's like a marshmallow, and they're kind of filled with like a jelly.
Ew,
those are dangerous.
Really?
In terms of like addictive.
Oh, they're that
like,
good.
Yeah, Yeah, Japanese gum. I like. I like the texture and like the flavoring of it. That's really good. You know me, total weeaboo. So I'll go to like Japanese markets here and there.
You and my friend would get along real well because she'll go out of her way to go to a Japanese marketplace and get sushi.
I don't know.
Like
I'm not
really cheap sushi, like little like tiny finger held bites that you just pop into your mouth.
I'm actually not a big sushi fan. I don't know. I'll have it sometimes. Tuna rolls, yeah, but I think that's kind of the extent of it. Okay, I mean, tempura is pretty good. Also, I'm not a huge fan. I just like it for all the snacks. They got all the like the branded stuff. They got like Pokemon branded candy and Mario branded stuff. It's like whoa.
Hello Kitty motorcycle. You know.
Hello Kitty. Well, actually, the marshmallow candies, those are like Hello Kitty branded.
Oh.
So you just got this like big pink bag with Hello Kitty on it. You're like, oh, damn marshmallows.
There's one thing I tried a while back. It was while I was in high school. It was it's like a Filipino type cake treat. It was like it's kind of like if you put like a lot of eggs into something. It kind of had that like moist sponginess to it, and it was green, so it was like it was kind of hard to describe, but it was pretty good. Like it just the interesting part about it made you want to eat it more to try and figure it out.
So it's still like bready, but it's just has a lot of egg.
Like it basically kind of has like if you've ever had one of those like spirally egg donuts, like that type of texture in your mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. It was just like it's kind of like you're eating like really moist sponge cake, if that makes sense. Even though the sponge cake's like super airy and feels weird in your mouth. So, like a dense, moist sponge cake with a bit of like a rubbery texture. I guess it's been a long time. Like honestly, like it'd be like you got to try it yourself. It's really hard to describe.
Yeah, I think I get what you're describing.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That is interesting.
You need to figure out the cuisine of the Pokemon world.
All right. So for one thing, we know that there's food you can feed your Pokemon.
Yeah, berries.
Yeah, berries. Yeah. And then you can make stuff out of the berries. You can make Pokeblocks, and then Poffins, which Poffins actually look pretty good. Those are like doughy. Then what do you call it? Pokeblocks are basically Turkish delight, I guess.
Yeah, except don't they like depending on what you blend together, it's just a different color every single time and has different effects.
Yeah, and there are like the different flavors too: spicy, sweet, bitter, sour.
Bitter?
No, I said bitter. Spicy.
Oh, you did?
Like, well, the flavors for Pokemon. I gotta look this up because it actually goes into
spicy, sweet, bitter. Isn't there tangy?
No, like there are actual like official flavors in the Pokemon games that correspond to this and that, and it's just like, oh, what? Oh, here it is: spicy, dry, sweet, bitter, sour.
Ah, dry. Dry was the one. It was wasn't it supposed to like help with like? Well, in the games, wasn't it supposed to help with like Pokemon contests?
Yes. Yeah. That's a thing though, because like they could only eat like in the original ones they could only eat like a certain amount of Pokeblocks. So if you like wanted maxed out beauty for a Pokemon, so it was something like you had to make like completely pure, dry Pokeblocks. So it was something like that. They changed it a little in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
I just think about that. Like if it were in real life, it's like. That must be torture for a Pokemon. Just like, man, how much water does this thing have to chug to actually get this to work?
What's funny is dry was for beauty, the beauty stat. I don't know. You remember Feebas?
Spicy wasn't spicy supposed to be for like toughness or something like that?
For
like
cool.
Cool.
Yeah. Was it spicy was cool? Dry was beauty. Bitter was smart. Sour was toughness, and then sweet was cute.
There's a whole disconnect with that. Like, I think like spicy could have been for like toughness, and bitter could have been for what was bitter for?
Bitter was like smart. Is that what it's called? Smart. And then Generation 6, there were Pokepuffs, which they look like this. Which
like cupcakes.
Yep, basically, or like they're puffed pastry things or something.
Oh, pastry puffs. Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Which the decorations on some of these, like the high level ones, It's a snowman on one of them. And then what else can you do? I think that's it. I think that's basically it. They've only been doing the Pokepuffs. Oh, there are also different items, like straight up items that will either heal stats or heal other things. There's berry juice. You can only get berry juice from Shuckle, I think, or you can buy it, but it comes from Shuckle also.
I thought it was really interesting in the show of how they used Shuckle.
Yeah.
Where it basically, like, to me, when I'm a kid, I'm like, oh, that's cool. You could drink liquid from a Shuckle. And then I get older, I'm like, and I see the episode of them drinking out of a Shuckle shell. I'm going, they're drunk.
Yeah.
They're getting drunk.
They're fermenting berries inside a turtle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that makes it even more disgusting. Like,
I know it's a weird one, but like,
it's like you're fermenting fruits in a turtle shell, and this turtle is alive and still moving around.
And he's totally fine with it. He's like, all right, sure, drink up.
Yeah, it's fine. It's great.
All right. It was funny though. I liked it though. I thought it was cool. Again, like you said, as a kid.
Yeah. Like as a kid, you're like, oh wow, Pokemon are actually useful for like getting like something to drink. That's awesome. But then it's like, no, they're drinking.
Yeah.
They're getting drunk from something in the shell, which probably is not good for you.
Yeah, I know. Well, at least there's Miltank. That one's just a cow and it makes milk. So.
Which like I thought was really interesting because I like how they maintain like the rarity of it in both the show and the game.
Yeah.
Because like when you came across what was it called in the game, Moo Moo Milk?
Yes.
When you came across it in the game, you're going, oh, I can have this for a very special emergency.
Yeah.
Because it did something that was extremely good when you were in battle. Like you gave it to your Pokemon and it did something. Like I know it did healing, but it also did something
heals
else.
a lot. One thing I did like in the original Gold, Silver, Crystal games, which, as I mentioned, I love those games. That's the one Pokemon game I could replay endlessly. In the original games, how it is you come up on this farm, you see the farm owner, and he says, "Oh, my prized cow isn't producing any milk, isn't giving me any milk. How will I, go on or something? Or like, I hope she gets better." So then it's on you, the player, to go out and find berries and then feed them to the cow or the Miltank, and then eventually it gets better. And then you can buy milk from him.
Yeah, but weren't there like specific berries that you had to feed it?
I think it was just the regular berry. Because the original berries were berry, poison cure berry, paralysis cure berry, sleep cure, something like that. They had dumb names. But there was one that was just called berry, and that's the one that you have to feed it.
Yeah, and wasn't it really like rare to find those regular berries?
Yeah, because like the berry trees only produced like one a day, and it was randomized.
Yeah, that was the one thing that like I absolutely despised playing those games. Because when I found that farm in the game, I had 2 berries on me. I'm going, cool, and then he goes, bring back some more berries and it'll be okay. And I'm going, awesome. And I kept trying to get more, and it just turned into a whole entire thing of I'm just gonna come back here. And I kept coming back and kept saying, there's no berries.
It's tedious. It takes work.
You want to really grind in a Pokemon game, wait for the berry to grow.
That's the true grind, the berry grind. Out of all berries, they're all pretty useful, but it's mostly Lumberry and Citrus Berry that are the best.
It's all about that Oranberry.
Oranberry? Well, what is it? I think Oranberry is like set to restore 10 HP, and then I think Citrus Berry is like 1/3 of health.
Or we go with the best of them all, Leftovers. Yeah.
Dude, Leftovers are great. Like,
honestly, like Leftovers, I despise Leftovers if it was used in a battle with like a grass type that knew Leech Seed and Absorb.
just insane like healing going on.
Or the one thing I did was I gave my strongest grass type Leftovers, and like Leftovers combined with Leech Seed with Giga Strain. You have an immortal Pokemon right there.
Just take everything.
Or what you can do is you basically do Leech Seed. What is it? Uproot. That move.
Or is it
basically Ingrain? Yeah, you basically put basically for a few turns it basically puts roots into the ground.
Yeah.
and heals you gradually. So you have that plus leftovers plus Leech Seed plus Giga Drain.
And that is the upside, that Giga Drain just like actually does damage.
Yeah, and you have an immortal Pokemon. It never loses health.
No, yeah. Okay, the whole thing with like the original games, right? The whole wars on like, oh, this started. Like, no, Venusaur is the best out of them for like playing through the game, like in the original game.
No, I would actually have to agree with you. Venusaur was probably the best because I wasn't a big fan of some of the move sets that Bayleaf, or what's the evolution of Bayleaf?
Meganium?
Meganium was okay just as long as you had Razor Leaf, Mega Drain, and Vine Whip.
Like, you could still like make it bulky, but it's not as bulky as Venusaur.
Yeah, you can turn Venusaur into a massive tank.
Yeah, it is.
Like I mean like a real massive tank. Like, yeah, it's already got extremely high defense and special defense, but you can also add to that. Like, if it's a level 100 Venusaur and everything seems to be maxed out, you can actually max it out if you go to that supplement store, and you get all those buffs that permanently upgrade your Pokemon. So, like, you do nothing but put everything into defense and special defense, and then your Venusaur, basically, with a super effective move, only takes down, like, 30 HP.
Oh, yeah.
And then on top of that, you're still doing Ingrain, Leech Seed, and Mega Drain.
Oh, yeah. What is it? With Mega Venusaur, right?
Right.
It's just even bigger. I mean, like, with Mega Pokemon, you do have to sacrifice an item slot to Mega Evolve it. But Mega Venusaur also gets a good ability, gets a Thick Fat, that basically makes it so that Fire and Ice-type moves don't do super effective damage. They just do regular damage.
Huh.
And again, it gets bigger. It has more bulk to it.
I just think that's real funny. How do we make it stronger? Make it bigger.
Yep. Make the plant on its back grow bigger and give it Thick Fat. Which I was at the store today and actually bought a Bulbasaur plush.
Ooh.
So it's like, it's funny that like the discussion ends up being about Bulbasaur, Venusaur, because
then it makes me ask questions about like other Pokemon, like Machamp. Did they do like a Mega Evolution for him?
No, they didn't.
That would have been. Yeah. That would have been like extra. That would have been like kind of funny because like my idea was just like
6 arms,
more arms.
I really think he should have gotten some kind of Mega Evolution or something.
Ooh, a really good one that they could have done was that one Hariyama.
Oh,
Hariyama, the one with the big hands.
Yes.
Like, they could have done something with him.
Bigger hands.
Like, either like bigger hands, or like his hands would like have a certain effect, like maybe like fire or like energy, something like that.
Ooh, I think he. Oh, ooh, that's a pretty neat idea. Like, make him more like. Well, he is like kind of a sumo wrestler, but what if you just like give him that like mystical kind of energy, kind of like feel?
Yeah, we'd also have to change up like his color scheme as well. Like something a little bit more intense.
Ooh, what I'd say is, he's got like a little blue on him. Like, just go a little more with that. Make it a little like more blue, but like a deeper kind of blue.
Like a deeper kind of blue, and maybe you could do like kind of that like dark red that you see on that one alligator that you see that's like black and dark red.
Oh, Crocodile?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like that's his primary color on his skin tone.
Okay.
And then like his hands are probably going to be like either like red, like a bright red, or they're going to be like black or gray with like some sort of like energy or fire or something like that.
Ooh, nice. You know, one thing it reminds me sort of is you know the game Pokken Tournament? It's like a fighting game for Pokemon. Yeah, it's basically, so every Pokemon playable in the game has a like an alternate form. Even if they don't Mega Evolve, like, because you know Charizard's in the game and he can Mega Evolve, and then Mewtwo's in the game and he Mega Evolves. But other Pokemon in the game, they just kind of get like a special transformation. So like Weavile, he just gets like really icy. But Machamp, what he does, he gets like super heated and he turns red.
Interesting.
So I always thought like maybe that I always thought that looked really cool. But you see, he's like steaming basically.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking with Hariyama.
Ooh, okay.
Or what you're saying. That's what it's reminding me of.
Yeah, that like this like the color is like right on. Like, that could be Hariyama, but his hands are a different color and he's got like energy going everywhere. Each like, because if you look at each fighting type, they've got their own like little special characteristic to them that makes them really unique. Hariyama, he's a sumo wrestler. Machamp, basically a bodybuilder that knows how to punch.
Yeah.
Then you've also got
Medicham, which I also think
Medicham, which like Medicham, like you could do something very similar to.
I was gonna say Medicham also has a Mega Evolution.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, mostly because I was thinking a little. Here, let me show you.
Oh, okay. So like, well, Medicham, like I think just by like looking at this, seems like you could do something similar to like what Lucario originally does, which is like energy blasts and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. With Medicham, so like you see how he has like 4 floating arms?
Yes.
Like those do all the punching. He just stands there and then
that's
the extra.
bogus. That is so bogus.
He just stands there.
I'm so focused that these things do the work for me.
Extra arms punch.
It seems like a Final Fantasy boss, honestly. Like, she's got all these other things fighting for it, and then once when you take all of those out, you get to the primary.
Yeah. I get it. Nice.
Gosh, that is like so OP.
We need that would be I think that'd be a great idea for something like just capitalize more on like it sits back and then something else does the fighting for it.
You do a Pokemon event, like it's a one-time event that they should do. Incorporate something that doesn't even relate to Pokemon. They get permissions from whoever creates Smash Brothers.
Sakurai.
Basically, it's a one-time chance to catch the Master Hand.
Ooh.
And use him in battle.
I don't know how I'd feel about that. Like a big hand.
Yeah, just like a white glove on screen, and it's like animation when it shows up on screen for the first time. It just says like a little grabby animation, like the hand just opening and closing into a fist really quick. It's just like rah, 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 rah.
I see that. I can see that. There's probably some mod out there. Someone's done something like that.
Oh, there's people who've done a lot of things. The Michael Jackson mod, where basically you can catch different versions of Michael Jackson. You've got there's other mods that actually bring in your own custom creations, in which if you want to take the time and actually create your own Pokemon and throw them into a game, you can do that. Yeah. There's the whole thing with music mods. Basically, you can replace the music from the original games and just put your own music in there if you want to do that.
Yeah,
which you could actually do something really cool with. Like, I wouldn't change anything but the battle music.
All right, what'd you change it to?
Like something really intense that would make you feel really uncomfortable and make you want to get the battle over and done with. Like something that would like get you really pumped up, but at the same time, something that you wouldn't want to listen to all the time.
Super sense of urgency.
Yeah, like something like a heavy metal EDM type thing.
I'm trying to think. Is there like EDM? I'm trying to think. Like, is there much that's come close to that? Because I know there are some battle themes that are like like Giratina's is like a little unsettling at the beginning. I think like Giratina's battle theme. Like there are a few that are just a bit unsettling, but then it transitions into like your basic like dun 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 dun. Like your basic.
Like I think like the one thing that you could do is you change all of the battle music except for the Elite Four. Like you do something that's like a heavy metal, rock and roll, poppy, techno type thing for all the battles throughout the entire game except for the Elite Four, because people would get really sick and tired of that same music throughout the entire game. And then you finally get to the Elite Four, and you finally get that relief of like, oh, finally something original here.
Interesting concept. And that you wonder though, like how many people would like want to turn down the volume or turn off the music or like get people like caught extremely off guard and make it extremely loud. Like once when they go into the battle, it's just right up into their ears. It's like, whoa, gosh, I gotta turn this down. Man, what theme was it? I think that was Heart Gold Soul Silver Elite Four. I'm not sure. Because with cover music, right? The people who make cover versions of the Pokemon themes songs or remixes, just get them to do that. Just like the ultimate music mod. There's one channel that does some really good stuff. So he's called Falcone
Punch.
And he does. But he does like symphonic metal covers of video game music.
Interesting.
And the Pokemon ones are like really good. I just keep getting reminded of like Johto.
Really?
Yeah. Because, definitely the Johto games are some of my favorites. Like the Johto region overall, I think is my favorite region. And again, my favorite Pokemon's Totodile, so who knew comes from there. But yeah, I just keep getting reminded of it. Which did you see that video that I sent you? The Pokemon Hoedown?
No.
So it's from the Camp Pikachu short for the anime, the anime. And there's a song in it, and it's called the Pokemon Hoedown.
Interesting.
And so I'll leave it at that. You need to listen to it when you get a chance. But again, that's another Pokemon Gold and Silver era thing.
Find out next time.
I know, get the reaction. I've posted it like everywhere else. I posted it in Discord and on Twitter everywhere. I'm like, everybody listen to this. This is amazing. Oh, okay, great. I got a song to use for the intro now, so I know exactly what it's gonna be.
My favorite Pokemon game. Oh, that's tough. Ooh.
Yeah, it is. Like, I don't know. Mine changes pretty often.
For me, it probably is gonna be it was Sapphire.
Nice.
It was the original Pokemon Sapphire, just because when I first finally got Kyogre in that game, and I wasn't able to get Groudon. I wasn't able to get Groudon, so it was that forbidden I lost out on that. It was the mystery of what would have it had been like to have Groudon.
Honestly, Gen 3, I really like the Hoenn region. Yeah, one of my favorites. I almost kind of like the remakes a little better. The Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. Mostly because those came out more recent, so I had more, I guess, friends who were also playing it or playing, in the same generation. And then, a bunch of quality of life stuff that they changed up in that game. But yeah, typically it's typically Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire, or like I said, the ones that I could play indefinitely are Gold, Silver, Crystal. And it's gotten to the point where I basically play them every year, during the summer. You should get a 3DS and play Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire.
I'll think about it.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is price, but I mean they're more affordable nowadays. And especially with the Switch being out now. I don't know. Pokemon's cool, man.
It is.
In case you didn't know. Man, it's so cool. I should start a channel about it or something. Oh, what could I say? What was I thinking?
Come back next time and find out.
Yeah.
What kind of sushi GatorEX likes. Oh, wait, he doesn't like sushi.
I mean, I like tuna rolls. Tuna rolls aren't bad. California roll, but I don't think that counts as sushi. Which, yeah, honestly, I guess if anything, that's a good question to pose. What's everything we chat about? Chat about Avatar, Pokemon, and food. What's your favorite Pokemon game, guys? I mean,
comment down below.
I know, comment, please leave a like. But what's funny is like I mentioned, the last podcast that I recorded, that is a lost episode. I didn't have a traditional intro or outro for that, but I think that's what made it so good. Is I recorded at 11 o'clock at night. Not that it was last minute, but it had less structure. But it was a weird one. It was crazy. But I mean, it's good to be back to normal with this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, guys, it's basically been it for this episode. I suppose this was episode 9, episode 10 technically, I guess, but we'll go ahead with episode 9. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Any questions, of course, leave those and we'll go through them. I do end up reading comments. I'm able to read every comment. I do end up doing that. So again, any questions, leave them there. Pose them to, me, nerds, anyone else, and we'll get to them.
We will see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Oh yeah, basic stuff, leave a like, all that stuff. I don't know, that's the issue with ending things, is I never can end it properly. So anyway, that one podcast, right? The way I ended it, basically, I was just using the snap band the whole time, and how I ended it was I used a snap band on myself and then did a funny scream. It didn't exactly work out, but it was basically, ah!